Hello, everyone. Let's learn today the weaving method of the morning glory flower. Today I am assembling a decorative item. It can also be used as a small decoration at home. A style similar to a table lamp. Can be used as a decoration at home. Can also be used as a small ornament. Can be used to hang keys or other items. Let's take a look at the components of the flower. There are flowers and sepals, leaves and flower buds. There are two types of flower buds. One is a larger flower bud. The other is a smaller flower bud. Let's see what materials are needed. First, we need a pair of common scissors. Any pair of scissors will do. And a crochet hook. You can use a 2.0 or 3.0 hook. I used Mengua's 4-ply yarn. And a cutting tool for trimming. A leaf shaping tool. Using the number 24 setting strip. Glue gun used during assembly. In the absence of a glue gun, hot melt adhesive can be used. Just ignite with a lighter. Next, let's learn the weaving method of the morning glory flower. Next, let's learn the weaving method of the flower base, using the green wool diaresis. First, take out a section of the yarn. Wrap it around the index finger twice. Take it out. Leave the long end on the right side. Take out a 2.0 crochet hook. Pass through the end of the needle. Wrap the yarn and pull it out. Wrap the yarn and hook out a braided stitch. Pass through the loop. Wrap the yarn and pull out the two loops on top. Wrap the yarn and pull out a short stitch. 5 short stitches need to be hooked inside the loop. Repeat the same method. Repeat 5 times. After hooking, find the loop. One loop is on top. One loop is below. Tighten it first. The lower coil. The upper coil will tighten. Pull it to tighten. Pull the line end again. After tightening the coil, start hooking the second coil. Directly pass through the first stitch. Start hooking the second coil on the first stitch. Hook 2 short stitches. After hooking one, hook another short stitch in the same stitch. After hooking, the same goes for the next stitch. Need to hook 2 short stitches. Hook out within these 5 stitches. Adding stitches for 5 groups of short stitches. After hooking, there are a total of 10 stitches. First count. Then start hooking the next coil. The next coil is the third coil. The third and fourth coils remain unchanged. Hook 2 coils. Hook 1 short stitch for 1 stitch. Finish it by yourself. Okay, the 2 coils without adding or subtracting are completed. Then you need to pick the end of this thread from the inside to the outside. At this time, start hooking the small flower base. When threading through the petal part to the first stitch, wrap the thread directly out. Hook a draw needle directly. Then wrap the thread around 4 braid stitches. Return to the second stitch. Start hooking. Hook a short stitch. The second stitch. Hook a medium length stitch. Pass through half of the braid stitch. There are 3 loops on top. Directly bring them all out. Wrap the thread in the next stitch. Hook a long stitch. Bring out 2 loops first. Then wrap the thread and bring out 2 loops. At this time, you need to skip a stitch. Hook the stitch again. Do not hook the stitch. Jump to the next stitch. Thread through the stitch. Wrap the thread directly out. Finish hooking the remaining 5 petals. After finishing, cut the thread into 5 pieces. Hello everyone. Now let's learn the weaving method of the Morning Glory flower. Flower weaving method. The flowers are hooked from the bottom. Hook the last petal. Now let's learn. I'm using Mengua's 4-stroke thread for demonstration. For easy learning, you need to use a marker loop. First, wrap a piece of yarn around your index finger twice. Start with a loop and hook 5 short stitches. This is the first stitch. A total of 5 stitches need to be hooked. After hooking the 5 stitches, start tightening the loop. Find the lower thread. Pull the yarn again. Tighten the loop. Start hooking the second round. Pass through the position of the first stitch. Use the spiral hook method to directly hook the second round without pulling. Wrap the yarn and bring out the second round. 1 stitch is 1 increase. Okay, make a mark at the position where you just hooked the first stitch. When you reach the next stitch of the second one, it's a short stitch without increasing. No stitches are added. The next stitch is a knit stitch. But the next stitch is not a knit stitch. The next stitch is a purl stitch. The pattern for this round is knit 1, purl 1. The first stitch to hook is a knit stitch. After finishing the hook, remove the marker. Start hooking the next round. Need to hook 3 rounds. Neither increase nor decrease. It means no more stitches need to be added for all 3 rounds. Hook a knit stitch for each stitch. Complete this section without increasing or decreasing. Complete this part by yourself. Okay, need to pull the center line in from. Pick it out from the middle here. After hooking 3 rounds, neither increase nor decrease. A total of 5 rounds. Okay, after completing without increasing or decreasing, start hooking the next round of changes. First hook 3 knit stitches without increasing or decreasing. When hooking the first stitch, need to make a marker. The first stitch has been hooked. Hook another 2 stitches. After hooking 3 stitches, hook a short stitch increase in the next stitch. That is 2 short stitches. Okay, now repeat 3 short stitches. 1 increase stitch. Okay, need to hook 2 sets of 3 short stitches. 1 increase stitch. Repeat 2 sets. Already finished hooking. After finishing, hook 3 rounds. No increase or decrease. Three rounds. Each stitch is a short stitch. Next, completed. The 3 rounds without increase or decrease are already done. Next, hook an increase stitch every 4 stitches. Connect to the previous video. First, complete 4 short stitches. Count the stitches from the marker. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, complete in the 4th stitch. Hook an increase stitch in the 5th stitch. I have already hooked 1 stitch. Hook another increase stitch in the stitch. Repeat 1 more set. Hook 4 more short stitches. Hook a short needle with a hook on the 5th stitch. This completes this round. Next, hook 3 rounds. No addition or subtraction. Next, completed. Okay, now hook 12 rounds. Here I emphasize. There will be a bud later. Its hooking method is from the 1st round to the 12th round. It's the same hooking method as what has been hooked now. Just wait for the bud later. You don't need to learn it again. Just follow the current hooking. To hook the flower pouch later, I will explain the bud later. Then hook the 3 rounds without addition or subtraction completely. I have already hooked the 3 rounds without addition or subtraction. Next, hook again. First, hook 3 short needles. The first 1, 2, 3. After hooking 3 short needles, hook a short needle with a hook on the 4th stitch. That is, add 1 stitch every 3 stitches. Repeat 3 sets. The first 3. Make a single crochet in the 4th stitch. Repeat again. Okay, that completes this round of crocheting. Next, let's start crocheting the petals. In the next stitch, start with a yarn over, pull through. For easier viewing, I'll switch to a different stitch. First, yarn over and make a treble crochet. Yarn over, in the same stitch. Yarn over, insert hook in the stitch, yarn over. Make a long stitch, yarn over. Pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through. Make 2 yarn overs in the same stitch. Crochet a long stitch. Pull through 2 loops. Repeat twice. Okay, this is the long stitch. Yarn over in the next stitch. Crochet 3 long stitches. Yarn over the long stitch. Yarn over twice, in the next stitch. Crochet a long stitch, yarn over. Wrap the thread around the same stitch. Hook a long stitch. After finishing, wrap the thread around and make a braid stitch. Wrap the thread around the same stitch and pull it out directly. It's a petal crochet method. After crocheting, pull through the next stitch. Pull the thread out directly from the stitch. Repeat the previous crochet method. Let's demonstrate it again at a faster speed. First, make a braid stitch. Wrap the thread around the same stitch. Hook a long stitch. Then hook another long stitch. Wrap the thread and crochet 3 long stitches in the next stitch. Often wrap the thread twice. Connect to the previous video. Continue learning. Wrap the thread twice. Crochet inside the same stitch. In the middle stitch, a total of 3 long stitches. Then wrap the thread twice. In the next stitch, hook a long stitch. Then the next stitch. Still in the same stitch, wrap the yarn around the hook once. Make a single crochet stitch. Insert the hook into the same stitch. Yarn over and pull through. After finishing, insert the hook into the next stitch. Yarn over and pull through to draw up a loop. Using the same method, complete the remaining 3 petals. After completing 5 petals, cut the yarn and wrap the loose end. Bring the yarn back and forth nearby. Check. This completes the petal crocheting. Next, let's crochet the leaf. First, the leaf requires a shaping wire. It's a size 22 shaping wire. Take out the green yarn. Make a slip knot on your hand first. Insert the hook into the stitch. Make a single crochet stitch. Make 11 single crochet stitches. Yarn over and pull through to count as 1. Okay, after completing 11, start by inserting the hook into the second to last stitch. Add the shaping wire. Cover the shaping wire with the yarn. Twist the wire. Hold the wire with your little finger and ring finger. Then secure it with your index finger and thumb. The first crochet hook wraps the yarn. The second, hook the medium length needle. Wrap the yarn on the crochet hook first. Pass through the next stitch. Directly pull out 3 loops. The next stitch is a long needle. Wrap the yarn through the stitch. Pull out the 3 loops on top with the wrapped yarn. Pull out 2 loops with the wrapped yarn. Pull out the yarn again. Same method. Need to crochet 6. There are still 3 stitches left at the back. Wrap the yarn through the stitch. Hook a medium length needle. Directly pull out the yarn. In the second to last stitch, no need to wrap the yarn. Pass through the stitch and come out. Hook a short needle. The last stitch. Pass through the stitch and fold the shaping strip down. In the stitch, need to hook 3 short needles and pull out the yarn. 1, 2, 3. Okay, fold back and hook. The corresponding return is a short needle with a hook. No need to wrap the thread. Wrap the next stitch through the end of the needle. Take out 3 loops at once with a medium long needle. The next stitch corresponds to a long needle. When reaching the second to last stitch, wrap the thread and hook a medium long needle. Take out 3 loops directly. Hook a short needle on the last stitch. Thread through to the position of the first stitch. Directly wrap the thread and pull out the broken thread. Leave the thread slightly longer. Use it for wrapping later. Okay, this is where you learn the weaving of the leaves. A total of 12 leaves need to be hooked. Prepare it first. Next, let's take a look at the weaving method of the flower bud. The 12 in front of the flower bud. The weaving method of the 12 loops is the same as that of the flower. There is no need to repeat and teach again. I already have one hooked here. The steps for the 12 loops. Stuff the filling cotton in. Next, let's teach from below the 13th stitch. After completing 12 stitches, start completing 12 rounds. Start decreasing stitches. Decrease 1 stitch every 2 stitches. First crochet 2. Short stitch. After 2 short stitches, start decreasing stitches. Okay, this round is to decrease 1 stitch every 2 stitches. After decreasing, start by stuffing a little filling cotton. Okay, after stuffing cotton on top, continue with the next round of decreasing stitches. This round of decreasing stitches is to decrease 1 stitch every other stitch. First crochet a short stitch. Then start decreasing stitches. Okay, when reaching a small hole, pass through the opposite stitch. Okay, cut the thread directly. Need to pull the thread end inside a bit. Okay, the flower bud is completed. Next, let's learn how to assemble. Next, learn about the flower bud. The small green flower bud needs to use filling cotton. Take out the green yarn. Wrap it around the index finger twice. Take out. Circular cast on. Cast on 6 short stitches. Wrap the yarn and pull out. This is a short needle. Need to hook 6. After 6 hooks are good, find 2 crossed lines. First pull the lower line. Pull the end of the line again and tighten the loop. Find the position of the first stitch. Start hooking the second round. The second round is to add a stitch to each stitch. Hook 2 short needles in one stitch. A total of 12 short needles after hooking. You can count by yourself first. Hook the next 2 rounds. No addition or subtraction. Just hook 1 short needle for each stitch for 2 rounds. Need to pull the end of the thread from the middle to the outside. Not needed. Okay, 2 rounds without addition or subtraction have been hooked. Next is to hook 2 short needles. 1 decrease. Hook the first 2 short needles first. The first one. 2 are good. After hooking 2, look at the method of decreasing stitches. Look at the method of decreasing stitches after hooking 2. First pick out half of the stitch. It's half a needle. Pick out another half stitch. Okay, loop the thread out. There are 2 loops on top. Directly loop the thread out, count as a decrease stitch. Okay, after decreasing the stitch, then hook 2 short stitches. Proceed with decreasing the stitch. Same method. Still the same. Take this round. Cut it according to this pattern after finishing this round. After finishing this round, start adding filling cotton. After adding the filling cotton, start. Then decrease the next round of stitches. First hook a short stitch. Then start decreasing the stitches. Same pattern as well. Hook a short stitch. 1 decrease stitch. A total of 3 decreases. Okay, continue decreasing the remaining stitches. Finish off the opening. Can't solve it here. Pass through the needle and loop the thread out directly. Thread break. Adjust the cotton inside. That's the tutorial for the flower bud. Okay, let's take a look at the assembly next. Before assembly, all these wire ends need to be collected. Gather these wire ends together.